We're here to talk about some tech predictions for the upcoming year. First tech prediction is that because of what's going on with Apple versus Android and the case, you know, Apple versus Samsung and the cases, that I predict that Android, especially Android tablets, are just going to start falling by the wayside. If they do any product releases, they're going to be flocking towards Windows Professional, Windows tablet versions.
I believe that companies are going to get smarter. I think they're going to go and they're going to figure out how to do this in a way that will keep them under the radar or out of harm's way. But companies have been in court for these things for as long as there's been business, and we continue to have innovation. We have it. Microsoft used to get.
But here's the weird thing. I think the real innovation here is Microsoft Windows. If you look at Android operating system and you look at the iPad, they're almost the same. There's very little difference between them. And you go and you play, which I finally have, you play with the Microsoft Surface tablet and Windows 8 tablet, and it's different. And I think companies are going to say, I think like the tablet companies are going to say, this is better or different.
I think we're going to have to really see how this judgment shakes out. I think once people get their bearings, we're going to see. I would not bet against Microsoft in the long term.
I've had a moment to get on the Microsoft Surface, the one that they just released.
Okay.
And without ruining the surprise here, it's not that good. And I think that in January they're planning to release the professional version of that tablet.
Yep.
I think the hardware is really solid. I think the way it sits and feels is really solid, and I think it's going to present a real alternative to the Android tablets and even the iPad. And I think corporate America is going to start looking at that. And I don't know, it's just what I think. Another tech prediction, moving off of this. iPhone 5 still dominant.
Apple has created technical zombies who are accepting less and less in terms of features and enhancements to each product. Where is the innovation? Apple led the way here.
I think that there's an unfair expectation of Apple. I think people think that Apple is going to pull out an iPad from its pocket every time it's going to release a new product. I think that, but that's not how Apple has worked. It doesn't like turn every market on its ear every time. You figure they introduced the iPod, right, when there were a bunch of little MP3 players, and it was a brand new device, and it set the standard for that music player market up here. And they dominated the market because of that. They still are releasing incremental improvements to the iPods. Like the iPod Shuffle now is like the size of a postage stamp. Okay, that's cool, but they haven't changed the iPod market since they set the standard in it. The next thing you're going to see it is with the iWatch. I had to bring it in. With the iWatch, it's the next time you're going to see it is when they're going to produce an industry-leading cell phone wristwatch. Okay, or something like that, where they go into a market that's fragmented, doesn't have very solid products, and they're going to put out their product and it's going to be industry standard. On the corporate side, we're making a quick prediction about BYOD, which is bring your own device. And the prediction is that with this proliferation of devices, iPhones, iPads, Androids, phones and tablets, Windows Surface tablets, pretty much this is going, the idea of BYOD, which is that IT departments and companies are going to say, you know what, we're going to support whatever you bring in, or we're going to set some standards and support it. I think it's just going to get bigger and bigger, and companies are going to learn to get smarter about the type of policies they put out and how they're going to protect their data when there's a proliferation of devices.
I believe if you haven't, as an organization, if you haven't already tackled this or haven't at least had a discussion about it, you are way far behind. Because while you've been not talking about it, almost every employee in your organization has brought a device from outside and has been using it to transfer data that belongs to the organization onto those devices.
Constant cloud. I think with cloud computing, I think this is one of those technologies that 2 years ago people were going, what's cloud? What cloud? We're going to go to cloud? What is this cloud thing? And this year the cloud is an established alternative. Anyone doing an upgrade to their servers, anyone doing an upgrade to their workstations, is going to be looking at the cloud as one of the alternatives they must consider now.
The conversation, I'm interested to see how people are going to start figuring out what pieces want to go and what pieces are going to stay. And
Well, I think overall the conversations are becoming more mature.